Alright guys, you know the drill. Let's get right to the tea. Alright guys, I'm gonna proceed to tell you a little bit about Thomas Pynchon himself. Since, we do this for literally every other author, so I might as well do it for this here author. And well, Thomas Pynchon, or should we call him Thomas Ruggles Pynchon Jr., was born on May 8th, 1937 in Long Island, New York. And well, fun fact, he's still alive. He's like 81 years old. And he could probably stroll across this if, I don't know, he ever wanted to search himself up or something. But he graduated from Cornell University with a Bachelor's of Arts degree in English. And from there, he just began writing, you know? And his first novel was called V. Just V. But then, for his second novel, it's called, well, what's this whole entire presentation about? It's about the crime of Law 49, which is what I'm gonna basically be talking about for the remainder of this here presentation. So, let's get to it. Alright guys, well, to establish briefly upon what the story's upon, well, first off, there's no tears involved, there's no crying, necessarily, and it's also not about a parking lot, in case you were thinking that, so this background behind me, it's not relevant. And well, I switched the background to something a little bit more relevant as to what all I'm going to be talking about. But you see, that lot in the crime of Law 49 is more about the estate that this woman by the name of Oedipa Maas, who is also our main character in this here book, inherits from her ex-boyfriend. And that ex of hers, he just so happened to be loaded with a bunch of money. And he owns a lot of stuff in California, as he worked as a real estate person. And, you know, this story just sort of takes a twist from just a woman trying to figure out how to deal with the newfound situation over to just a more complex but interesting story, I do say, about conspiracies dealing with mail companies, and hence the background behind me, because, as you can see, mail. And, well, the two mail companies are the Southern Texas and the Tristero, and Oedipa just is trying to prove that the Tristero is real, because apparently the Tristero was defeated by the Southern Texas back in the 1700s, and so now the Tristero wanders underground, and, well, Oedipa's just going on this big journey to solve it. So ultimately, Oedipa's conspiracy never gets solved, and just leaves you hanging with the statement, which is also the only time that the title of this book is ever mentioned, in which it reads, Oedipa settled back to await the crime of Law 49. And it's just like, oh, alright. And well, I think that's it for my brief summary. I'm just gonna tell you what all I liked about the book next, and so, let's get to it. Alright guys, now I'm going to tell you about what I enjoyed about the crime of Law 49. And well, first off, that has to be with Pynchon's sense of wordplay. For example, there's this band that's featured in the book called the Paranoids, who appear multiple times throughout Oedipa's journey. But you see, not only does this band basically just serve as a form of pop culture, but it also kind of represents the paranoia that Oedipa is experiencing, since they're basically following her around all the time. And so, basically, the Paranoids is just a play on the paranoia Oedipa is experiencing along her quest to figure out whether or not the Tristero is real or not. And so, I just enjoyed that. And well, yeah. Alright guys, and then for another matter I enjoyed within this here book is just the symbolism that this here story rides upon. And there's many instances of symbolism within this book, but I'll give you like the main ones, or at least what I perceive to be the main ones, in which is when Oedipa encounters the muted post-horn symbol on a bathroom wall. But along with that, an address to somewhere called Waste. And so I'm going to proceed to show you guys that, which, as you can see, that's what was displayed. And well, the muted post-horn was said to be the Tristero symbol, and also Oedipa doesn't really realize what this whole entire waste thing means at first. She just sees it as like a big word, as just like a capitalized word, but then she later finds out that this is an acronym, which stands for We Await Silent Tristero's Empire. And well, this just meant that they're underground, and they're being silent. Hence the muted post-horn. And well, I say that sums up about what I enjoyed about this here book. And well, now I'm gonna go on and tell you about what I disliked about this here book. And so, one of my biggest dislikes about this book is the fact that there will just be so much information presented at once that it's just really difficult to decipher. For example, Oedipa decides to go and see this play called The Courier's Tragedy after a friend recommends it to her, because it was supposedly going to reflect the events already happening in the book. But when she goes and sees this play in its entirety, it just seems to drag on. Like, it just doesn't really... It just didn't really make any sense to me. It was just really long, like 6 pages long, and I just didn't really get it. Even though after I researched it up later on, I understood that it was the first time that Oedipa has ever heard of the Tristero, but like it's just presented in a way that I was just not really a fan of, and I just didn't get it when I first read it. And so I think that's the major thing I disliked about this here book, was just the fact that it just drags on for some parts, and it's like you just don't get it because so much will be presented and you just don't understand. So overall, I did in fact enjoy The Crying of Lot 49, as I think it was very cleverly written, and along with the fact that it was just unpredictable, so I just didn't know what was going on, and therefore it just kind of kept me hooked until the end. And so I say this book was a good read, and I also say this is what concludes this here presentation.